Here we are, YouTube, Rick Nixon, Nixon's Garage, working on that 59 Buick Rat Rod. Since we got back from Rat Stock, working on the car has been a little bit different. We really had guidance, we really had motivation and a drive and an objective headed towards Rat Stock. And when we got back, that objective, Rat Stock, was done. Although I didn't finish the car and we dragged it up there and we had a good time, I mean a really good time, we saw a lot of really cool cars. It just left you a little empty knowing that I didn't get done. So when I got back, trying to work on the car has been, well, I'm going to call it what my wife called it. She said I had a writer's block. Now, I don't know what writing has to do with building that doggone car, but, well, you know. If you know, you know. So, here I am, trying to get something done. I spent several nights after the show and after we got back, coming here and just sitting around looking at the car and thinking about it and trying to make the decision about what to do next. Well, the bottom line is, we got a brand new engine we haven't even started. So, I talked to a friend of mine, and he said, man, quit worrying about trying to get it pretty. Just get the doggone thing running. Then you can work on the rest of it and finish it up when you got time. And I thought about that, and it made really good sense. So I figured out in my head what things got to be done before we can get on the road. So we got to have a radiator. I went and I bought a couple of radiators. I ordered one in, ordered in a fan, ordered in a controller, and well, I just can't really get it to fit the way I want it to fit until I found this one here. So one thing led to another, and we wound up in this place. So once I found this radiator, I said, now that's going to do what I want to do. So here's a few pictures of what it looked like, what we were trying to get to, the way I wanted to put the headlights in place on this old car. Because of where the headlights are going and the radiator's going and the hood's going, they need to be kind of incorporated, and all three of those things need to come together at one time. So I moved it around, I lifted it up, I lifted it down. I tried 2 or 3 different hoods, and I keep coming back to this hood right here. I really like the way this looks on the car, and well, I see it more done. I see it more done. I see more to do using this hood, getting closer to the finish line that I'm looking for. So now that I know about where I want the hood to go, I got a radiator that pretty much fits in place. It was back to working on the headlights. You know, I bought this car because it's really cool in the back. If you haven't seen the back, you need to go look at some of the other videos. This car is really cool looking in the back. I really like it. It's also, from the factory, it was pretty cool looking in the front. And the best part of it was the headlights. So all along, I've known that I wanted to put the headlight bezels back on this car. I knew I liked this hood, so I've been thinking about putting the headlights in this area here or something like this. From the factory, they kind of ran at an angle like that. And, well, frankly, I think it looks pretty mean. So, all this time I was working on all that stuff and struggling with it. My wife said I had a writer's block. And I was working every night. I was staying after and sitting around and looking at it and getting nowhere. I mean, getting nowhere. Well, Saturday morning came, and that's usually work on the chicken house day. And my wife said, why don't you go down there and work on your car today? Just go down there and do something on it. It'll make you feel better. So I came down here and I sat around on my stool and I looked at it and I thought about it and I said, I'm going to build a mount to put the headlights and the radiator and the hood on so I can get closer to starting that engine. So I spent hours, and I do mean hours, making some cardboard templates. It came out something like this. I got some pictures, and I'll send those to, I'll put those on here right about now. But this is what it looked like. So I made one for the left and one for the right. Put some holes in them to kind of make it look like they got headlights. Put a hole here to clear the steering shaft so I can take it in and out. Radiator can mount right along here. Well, that came out pretty good. So then I spent some time and I transferred that over to some hard poster board. Got some measurements off of it and center points for the headlights. And I sent that off to my friend Josh and Kai over at Forged Water Jet, and they water jetted me some pieces. Tuesday night, Dakota stayed with me. We clamped those together, set them across the frame, measured it all out, and welded them into place. I really dig the way the headlights and the hood kind of bring the front together. I don't plan on putting much else up here in the front. As a matter of fact, some of that frame right there I need to cut off and get rid of it because, well, I just don't like it. And I don't need it. And it don't do much. So that's where we're at. Relief grinding down around the bottom for the radiator to go in. And if I get past that, then I'll get started on some more mounts up here on the top. So here's some pictures of what it's all starting to look like. I'll push them through so you can see some of it. And if I get a little further, we'll add a little more. Thanks for coming to watch us. Thanks for encouraging us all the way through. We appreciate you signing up to be our friend on Facebook and clicking the subscribe button on YouTube. And I'll try to get some more videos made and see if we can't get further along. Now that I made a step, I get this finished up. I'm really not going to finish up the headlights right now. I'm going to go ahead and get to work on mounting that radiator up so we can get some radiator hoses, run some transmission cooler lines from the radiator back to the transmission. Then we're going to go to the rear of the car, try to solid that body back up, and figure out how we're going to mount a gas tank or fuel cell back there. Once those two things are done, it'll be a battery, a little bit of electricity, and a brake pedal. We should be pretty close to starting that engine up after all those things are done. So the motivation is back in place. I've got a goal in mind. I'll tell you a little bit more about that as we get closer. But that's where we're at. Thanks for being my friend.